Well, it's another SEC battle on the road against a team that looks really good on paper. I know they've had a rough go of it in their first 9 league games, but they've got some pretty good numbers offensively. They got some older guys from a leadership standpoint, and the first 2 guys on the mound, Catapana and Groover, pretty good numbers, both left-handers. So it'll be like every weekend in this league. It's very difficult. You better play some good baseball if you expect to win.
Questions?
I know in baseball you get new routines and schedules and you get used to things. Any concern about having playing a game last night, a quick turnaround, you got to be in Knoxville and ready to play tomorrow night?
No, I don't expect any issues from that at all. We're kind of used to, sometimes playing on Wednesday, hitting the road on Thursday, and we may feel a little bit different on Sunday. The fact that we don't have a game on Sunday, that might be a little bit weird. But it's a ESPN nationally televised game, and I know our guys are excited about that. So a little bit of extra bounce in their step. Love to be playing at Carolina Stadium, but we're on the road. That's the schedule, so we're looking forward to it.
Rick, can you give us an update on Jackie, Adam Matthews, Neff, Webb? Just kind of run through statuses.
Neff had a bullpen yesterday. He felt much better. He seemed optimistic that he could be available this weekend. I think we'll learn a little bit more in the next couple of days how he responds from his bullpen. That being said, we're not considering him as a starter at this point. Webb is going to travel. He will throw a bullpen in Knoxville tonight, so we'll have a better idea of how he feels from that standpoint. Matthews, to me, looks really good in his rehab. That being said, he hasn't played yet. So, I don't know. I've watched him train. I've watched him, work in the outfield a little bit. He looks good, but he hasn't said he could play. So, he's still out.
Are you hopeful he still might start?
I really don't have any idea. I don't have any idea. He hasn't said he could play, and we can do all we can as trainers and coaches, but until a student athlete says I'm ready to go, to me you're not ready, and so it's kind of up to him at this point on how he feels, and he shouldn't be rushed, and I'm not rushing him. You shouldn't play until you're ready to play. That's kind of foolish to do that. So. But he looks good. He looks good, on his rehab trail. Jackie didn't feel a lot different today than he did yesterday, which was a little discouraging for me. I visited with him a little while ago. He's actually at a doctor's appointment, getting looked at again, and he'll either travel with us or go up with the trainer tonight. So it's probably just a day-to-day situation with him.
But you're not possibly expecting him for this weekend, or just too up in the air?
It really is up in the air. I'm not trying to be evasive, but if the doctors say that he can play and he says he can't, he won't. Sometimes the doctor will clear you because you can't do any more damage. You may have soreness or aggravation, but you're really not going to hurt yourself. And sometimes they'll clear you, but if he doesn't feel like he can play, he won't. And on the flip side, if they say you can't play, then it's their call. You can't play. So we'll just have to see. I don't know. He may feel a little bit better tomorrow, but I don't know.
John,
we'll have 9. We're going to have 9 guys
on the field.
I promise you, we're going to have 9.
Tweet that. John Taylor's a guy who just seems to keep getting better and better. He's sort of the classic definition of a late bloomer.
Well, last year, his first year in the program, he was pretty good in the fall, pretty good in the preseason. He did not pitch well when the year started. So it kind of was a reversal a little bit with he and Jose Mata. Mata wasn't real good last year in fall and spring in the preseason. Then the season starts, and he was the guy that was kind of lights out. Now, Mata's been fine lately, but Taylor has been really special. I mean, you look at his numbers, and if you didn't know who he was, you'd say, well, that guy must be low to mid-90s with a really good slider. And he's not that guy, but his numbers are very impressive. And the thing that has been kind of exciting for me as a coach about John Taylor is when I ask him, what you got today or how do you feel, it's either great or all you need. That's a pretty good answer, when you ask a guy in the bullpen how much he can help us today, and how do you feel? Those are good answers. So I'm excited to have him in that bullpen.
Is it the different arm angles? Is it the late movement? Is it he just does a lot of different things, doesn't he?
He does, and I think he's throwing a little bit harder than he did a year ago. He's getting some sink. He'll throw you a pretty good slider at times. He's changing arm slots on lefties a little bit. He's added the changeup. He's just giving you a little bit more to think about as a hitter, and I think he's pretty confident right now in his ability. So it's a strong combination.
Ray, could you give us an update on two other guys, Harrington and Thomason? Both of them have kind of been with the injuries so far this season.
We got more guys hurt than we do healthy. Harrington is probably going to declare for a hardship. You know, he's just not able to physically participate the way he would like to, recovering from the arm surgery. Bothers him a little bit, and you know, he's a guy that we probably really need right now from his versatility standpoint as a catcher, as an outfielder, as an emergency guy at third base, but he can't do it. And here we are at the halfway point, and he and I have talked about it on a number of occasions, and it looks like right now he's going to sit out and apply for his medical hardship. Thomason has made progress. His velocity was a little bit better in the simulation on Monday. He's getting close, even though it's close to the 11-month mark. He hasn't pitched yet, so technically he's still a redshirt. He is on a trip to Knoxville. Is he likely to pitch? No, probably not. But being with us, he can continue to do the work that he needs to do, and there's value in that. I don't know that he'll pitch the rest of the year, but it's a possibility. It's just according to how he progresses in the next few weeks.
Coach, are you kind of impressed, or maybe even a little bit surprised with the bulldog mentality of the back end of your rotation? The fact that these guys are kind of getting the call, maybe not on a last-minute basis, but sometimes unexpectedly, and they're going out and they're throwing 6-7 innings.
I have been impressed. I've been proud of them, and I've been impressed by their approach. You're talking about a few guys, in Colby, in Kumas, Patrick Sullivan last night, guys that really weren't in the conversation for the most part. We had Neff out front, Webb out front. Westmoreland got 7 starts, I believe it was, and those guys were trying to get some innings out of the bullpen, and Webb was in the conversation. And all of a sudden, those guys get their opportunities and they cash in on it. You could be in that situation that you're moaning and complaining that you're not getting your opportunities, or you can be ready when the chance comes. Those guys have been ready, and as a result, they pitch well. They'll continue to pitch, and so you have to be happy about them and happy for them, and proud of the way they've approached this thing.
Ray, you touched on it for just a second, but I'd like you to talk about it just a little bit more. Real compliment that you guys are on national television, and it certainly seems like this is the kind of team that seems to thrive well when the lights are a little bit brighter. At least that's what I remember from Omaha last year. But how do you think of it? It's kind of a compliment to the program, and I'm sure you can consider it as the gift of a lot of hard work.
Well, it is a compliment to our program. It's a compliment to the entire SEC that we're the Thursday night packaged. You go back to the fall, you got Thursday night football. And now we got Thursday night baseball since basketball is over with now. So that's exciting for our conference. It's exciting for our program that we're the first game out there. And our guys like that. I think they enjoy a little bit of attention and the limelight. They have a lot of camaraderie. They have a lot of fun. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so they battled hard and they approached the game the right way. So having a little bit of fun is all right.
Can you just sort of elaborate, what is it that Jackie's feeling exactly when he ran out and couldn't go last night? What was he feeling, and what are the doctors looking for?
I think that it's sort of been diagnosed as a muscle strain. I think it's hard for me to, I guess, explain this maybe a little bit in the middle of his back. He's okay from a rotational standpoint. His batting practice yesterday was very impressive, which shocked me. I mean, we started out very gingerly because he knew his back was bothering him. But as he got into it, his swings were really good. His contact was impressive. And when he got done, I kind of smiled at him. I said, that's your best batting practice in about 3 weeks. But then when he started to the outfield, a little bit of bounce, and that's what bothers him. And it was an injury where he was bending over. So it's not as much rotational issue as it is bending over. So I guess that's what tightened him up a little bit. So we'll just have to see if there's spasms. Is it going to be tight? If and when he'll be able to play, it's kind of hard to tell.
Is it natural with all those guys? I mean, we're talking about early April, not June, not to rush them back and let them come back at their own pace.
Well, I think it's one of those things that you never know what the right answer is, and the only thing I go by is the way they feel and what they say. That being said, you have to defer to our medical authorities. You know, if they say this young man can't play, he can't play, regardless if he says he can or not. So once they get cleared, if they're cleared by our doctors and our trainers, then it's kind of how they feel. I never want to rush anybody. I don't care if it's the end of the year. If you usually in that situation, you're not going to get the results that you want. You got to feel good about playing and feel comfortable doing it. Otherwise, you can't go yet. You know, I tell my guys all the time, if you play, you're not hurt. If you hurt, you can't play. I'm not one of those guys that he's 80% or he's 60%. When you play, it's all out, or don't do it. This game's too hard to play if you're not at full strength. And I realize you have to play with some bumps and bruises, but you know, hamstrings are not bumps and bruises, and a back is not bumps and bruises. So Jackie had a few laughs with me about at my age and my back, and I said, "Hope you make it this long." Yeah, you know, I'm not. They can play when, you know, a lot of times a player will say to me, "Well, the trainer said this or the trainer said that." I go, "That's great. Now you tell me how you feel." You know. Andrew, it's your phone, man. Sorry, but you know, it's valuable that, you know, players are honest. They don't try to do too much, and that's all you can hope for. You don't want to play a game and then take 2 steps back. I mean, that's every game's important. You know, tomorrow's game could be just as important as a game 30 days from now, or vice versa. So you just, I don't want anybody to play when they don't feel like they're ready to go.
Sort of changing gears, just especially with the week that Mooney's had. I mean, do you see a different level of confidence in him as he goes along?
I have. And I kind of saw that in the fall. I saw it in the preseason. You're talking about a veteran guy, a baseball family, a guy that we recruited that way. He liked it. He accepted it. He thrived in it. And then the season started, and he tried to do too much in my estimation. I don't think he's ever said that necessarily to me. Maybe not to you either, but I just thought he tried to do too much. He was trying to not be who he was. He was trying to make great plays or never make an error, get a hit all the time, and you start pressing a little bit, and I think that's what happened. Now he's a little more comfortable, and he's able to get some hits, take some walks, and make the plays that he's supposed to. So he's been really good for the last few weeks.
And how important is that at the top of the lineup where you struggled for a while?
Well, it's vital. It's vital for us. We scuffled a little bit in the 1 and 2 spots, and he sort of now has made a statement that I can be either one of those guys that you need. Wingo's been moved up a little bit because of his on-base percentage. His batting average is higher as well, but Wingo's on-base percentage is very good, always has been, even when he was hitting in the 250 range. But he's much higher than that right now, so we've had a little more stability up there.
Any other questions? Different players in here. All right, thanks, guys.